outside the box. I'm just waiting for Tony. Done. Anyway, next week, what do we? It's been something. We are at September. We're 12 hours a day, like 12 hours a night. This is this isn't even going here. I'm gonna go to the chat. No doubt, it sounds like again with the showing that this guy didn't seem to know if on the air. Anyway, yeah, I gotta kill whatever I've got going here. There's nothing really going, Tony. Sorry, buddy. I'll close that window. And let's just bring this up, and we'll save this and close it. Anyway, sorry, guys. I gotta tell you, the technical walls that I run into on a daily basis are enough to drive anybody nuts. So bear with me. Just saving a current essay that I was working on, and it's titled Know Thyself, so I guarantee it will definitely be of interest, and we'll go from there. Tony, can you hear me now? All right. Are you coming into the show, or am I running this one for 2 hours solo on your helm for a change? Kidding. Anyway, see, that's the issue, right? When Tony's running the helm, I'm kind of, oh yeah, breaking up. No doubt I've been breaking up. The Skype's been going crazy on this end. Yeah, trying to link in good. Yeah, because when I'm just running as the co-host, more or less, I am. So who is? Anyway, you know, I got to stay away from Skype chats for a bit here, because I really do get weary of the same things coming at me. It's all the same mentalities. Anyway, just waiting for Tony to show up here. All right, so just wanted to do a shout out to all those people that have actually chipped in to make it possible with getting a roof of some sort, which sure beats the tent, and traffic noise that we get on a nightly basis when I'm trying to do these shows. I'm a little further away. That's why from the highway. That's why the internet's not quite so good. So I will do my best to keep this puppy going, keep it rolling. Anyway, yeah, thanks, Karina. Yeah, I got your Skype and in the chat room. By the way, you can jump in the chat room at freedomreigns.us/chat. That's FREEDOMREIGNS.us/chat. And by all means, please jump in. We'd love to get your questions and get your ideas and comments. I can't say how grateful I am to those that have anteed up. They're the ones, they're the true angels. Me, I'm just a mouthpiece. I'm just a document actor, servant, put the stuff together, and I do my best to get the word out to everyone in as peaceable a manner as possible. And I got to tell you, it's not easy running, and you can ask any radio host. It's not easy running a radio show. A lot of responsibility with it, and your research has got to be thorough. It's very time-consuming. It really doesn't allow for any semblance of a life or what have you. But the good news is I live for this, knowing that hopefully every time I get on the air that I can affect some positive change or to make a difference in at least one person's life. You know, that's how buckets get filled, one drip at a time. Might take a while, but eventually the bucket does overflow. So anyway, yeah. Sorry, just checking Skype. So when people tag me, I jump to it. That's my job. So what was I going to do there? There was we got hacked on Wednesday night. It looks like somebody rerouted the show, unbeknownst to myself. Only when we discovered it did the hack end. That's how I know it was a hack, because I had people trying to tune in and they're getting all sorts of weird, different shows. One would be music, one would be some sport talk, and another one would be some. I heard a part of it and was trying to download it. Then all of a sudden, it changed to the show. So anyway, needless to say, that doesn't surprise me. That the kind of stuff that we're putting out is true, as far as I know. Because I mean, I'm going to look and try to prove myself wrong at every turn, and I have no bias. Well, I can tell you, if being wrong is a bias, that's the better one to be. Because at least that way, I know when I consider myself wrong, at least I'm looking to learn. And when I try to prove myself wrong, there's no room for Cain, no room for ego. So it's not even really an analytical process anymore. So anyway, there was an essay that I had read at the beginning of the show on Wednesday, so I guarantee you it didn't get out, and there's probably a very good reason. I did post it in the Freedom Reigns Facebook page, and I put it on my Facebook connections and what have you. So I'm just looking to see what the word is with Tony, if he's trying to get in, if he can't get in, or what's on. And it's funny, we can talk all day, and okay. I'm not JB, if you're in or not. We'll talk about it afterwards. There's no point in sitting writing it all out because, frankly, I have to disagree with you, and that's okay. So we'll chat about it rather than typing stuff out. Bit of a distraction, sorry. Thanks. Anyway, Tony, if you can hear me, yeah, still trying to link in. All right. I'm seeing you. All right, in the meantime, I will bring this essay up, and I will reduce it to a point where I can actually see what it is I am doing with, gotta love the traffic, with the station. Hopefully I can see Tony tuning in. Anyway, some people listening to Monday's show probably got the wrong impression. I'll explain it one more time, and I'll keep explaining it until I can get this across. It's my fault that it's not being understood. Anyone else's for not understanding it. In communication, the communicator is the one at fault if the wrong ideas are conveyed. Yeah, there's a responsibility to the listener as well, but I will always, as a radio host, take responsibility. I am the communicator, and that's my role as a Gemini, and I take my role very, very seriously. The point I was trying to make, and Peter, that was on the show with me on Monday, the point that we were trying to make was the sheer frustration of trying to break people from the system mindset. And the system has indoctrinated people into a very socialistic benefit mentality. And where I call it the drive-through mentality. I want my burger, and I want my burger now. And if you're waiting for more than 2 minutes at the drive-through, you start getting antsy. Where's my burger? I'm sitting in my car waiting. It's a drive-through, and sorry guys, that's not how truth works. I'm certainly not a drive-through truth depot, nor is Peter, JT, and Michael, and everyone working with Divine Prophets. They're not a drive-through instant stamp you and you're free burger shop type of thing, okay? It's not how it works. You see, the onus of responsibility is squarely upon those that make the choice to be free or be slave. One of the things that I was trying to convey to people, and I will try to make it clear again, is not the frustration of, and I'm talking in terms of donations. The last thing I wanted to do, I'll be honest, I didn't want to spend 6 hours talking about me and my situation. I didn't think I was going to be having to speak that much, and that's okay. That's just the way it turned out. And by the end of hours, it was a 3-day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday marathon. I got to tell you, it is very taxing on the soul. It is very taxing trying to justify one's position in that I've been on the air for over 4 years, which I don't honestly think needs to be justified, or my intent as to why I've been there and what it has cost me to get here, to bring what I know to you from my experience, and hopefully it can resonate with you. You see, we are our own worst enemies, and in that regard, I mean, we are so reluctant to flow to others when in fact we're only flowing to ourselves. We're the ones that shut down our own floodgates. And I think I'm going to read this essay, and hopefully I can get the point across. And it's always the same oarsmen that help the same oarsmen. It's always the people in the same situations that help the kindred in the same situations. And they're the ones least able to do it. And that is where my frustration comes in. That's where my deepest passion comes from. In that I'm going, I really don't want that. I don't want that. Because I know the positions that people are in. I'm in it. And the last thing I want to do is take from those, as well-meaning as they are, that are in the same position as me, while there are so many others feeding at the trough that we are filling. So anyway, I'll read this essay, and I think it's very poignant, and I think if you take what I'm saying tonight in context with what Peter and I talked about on Monday, and it was very impassioned, I got to tell you, my heart was breaking, because all I was seeing was the mirror of myself, in that people want to help me, it means they want to help themselves. That's the truth of it. You see, I flowed everything I can out. I don't want to get into the numbers. The numbers would dazzle you. I was talking to a friend today. It said, it would have been a little easier just to, toe the line, and, I wouldn't have to be. I'd still be sitting in my home right now. I still have my soulmate with me. I still have my daughters with me. I still have my 3 dogs that I haven't seen in 6 weeks. It's like I texted last night to Sue to see if I could stop by to see my dogs that I haven't seen in 5 or 6 weeks, and she texted me back, and I already knew something was going down. I'm an empath. I feel these things, and I've been feeling it for about a week and a half, and that's a lot of the impassion that was coming across on the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and all this week. And the text that came back was, "Sorry, not a good night. I have a date after work." So that's been the week, and again, here we are at the end of the harvest, and why not? So that's the last vestige of any semblance of normal to me. That was the last silver string that was cut. And here I am tonight, and I will try to share this with you, and I will try to be as open and as honest with you as I can, as I always am. I wear my heart in both my sleeves, and like I've said before, I'll stay in this game as long as I can. I got to tell you, it is darkest before the dawn right now. And, yeah, there is a glimmer on the horizon. People have helped, and again, as I had said the other day, if every member of Freedom Reigns on the Facebook page did $1 their coffee me for one of their coffees during a day, it would never have been a concern. So. That's just one example, we got almost 1,400 people there. Yet there was a handful of people, and I'm going to be compiling a list for the next show, and I'm going to be sharing all the names of all those that put forth, and they get a beautiful little halo beside their name, because like I said before, I'm just a servant, I'm just a mouthpiece. Those that have helped know who they are, and they're the ones that are the angels, they're the ones with the halos. And here's the magical little things about me, and I can give you testimony of all people that just wrote to me, return save me, try it. It's always been that way with me in my life. And always a bridesmaid, never the bride. But that's what it's about, you know. Anyway, there we go. All right. Oh, Tony, I can't answer the phone on that one, but let me see. Oh, we're still not there, but anyway, so I'll bring this essay up, and let me see if I can get this minimized a little bit so I can. I don't know what it is with this Microsoft Office thing. It's I remember the good old days with Word. It was so much easier. All right. I don't think that's going to make it help. Nope. I gotta open the whole thing. All right. So here we go. The essay is entitled "What Are the 99%?" I'll check in with Tony after every paragraph. Yeah, Tony, I can't answer the phone that way, but it'll disconnect me from the show, and I can't really do that. So here we go. In the grand scheme of things, especially lately, you'll see a lot of people chanting, "We are the 99%," without ever really considering what it truly is. You'll find them at protests in front of banks that they support with their loans, also known as deposits. They will be screaming and shouting about the bankers screwing them, and the next day they'll happily go in, cash a government or other check. They will be protesting the evils of the banks with their cute little signs and their dressed-up children who haven't a clue as to the signs they're carrying, since many of these children aren't old enough to read yet. I find it ironic and a little sad that people are teaching their own kids how to protest something but really having a clue as to what they're really protesting. These are the people that have spent most of their lives asleep at the wheel while merrily using the system to their own benefit, but once that benefit turns to blatant truth as to the fraud of the whole system, out they go to the streets where so many of us have been for a long time and left, as we simply chose to stop feeding the beast that is killing us. When people feed banks, they are feeding their own destruction. Yeah, we are in a transition from banking to no banking, I assure you. Many have finally seen the folly of allowing someone the power of printing paper money out of thin air, as if they or anyone else could be trusted with that role. And I would challenge any of the 99% who are protesting who wouldn't do exactly the same thing they are protesting about. The temptation to human nature is too great, and the programs of the mind run too deep. If I start handing you a few hundred $100 bills every day, you will get used to it, and you'll even find a way to justify it. This is the fallacy of benevolent human nature within the 99% mindset. The simple truth is, if you're using one or any of their banks, you're guilty of feeding this paradigm. Oh yes, it is a tangled web we're in, to be sure. There is no easy way out of this. We'll simply have to exit this in the drip-by-drip fashion we got into it. That drip will become a waterfall once the system finally and inevitably collapses. I'm just going to quickly check to see if Tony's in the room yet. Not yet. Okay. So you think the 99% are pissed off now? Just wait when they discover that all their savings are wiped out. Because the truth is, any money anyone puts in the bank is a loan to the bank, not a deposit to your account, because you don't own it. The name you're using is owned by someone else, and they'll call on the chips on it, not you. The other truth is that all paper money is only meant for interdepartmental government use. So what does that make anyone who uses it? Once you come to terms with the fact to become necessities in the interim versus being another dumbed-down civil servant government employee with an elevated sense of self-importance. While I fully grasp why people are protesting, nevertheless, they need to be protesting exactly what it is they think they're raving at. Blindness and ignorance have been the rulers of the masses for too long. I only see this as the net result of our own ignorance, until we finally decide to stand up and say we've had enough. Unfortunately, for many of those protesting, they started awakening too late, when it was merely the reaction to finally being screwed over that got them to stand in the first place, with no real means of self-support at this point. This is not a good position to take anything from. It is a position of weakness, and pardon the pun, the 1% referred to here, we're banking on that. and they have you exactly where you placed yourself. There is, however, another 1% that I speak of. They are the 1% that have already awakened to this ruse a long time ago and actually planned their game accordingly, preparing for an uncertain future that was still being created in each moment of now, that they were living in and still do. We are the ones that smelled this rat early on and were frustrated at every turn by the 99% that are finally getting it, albeit a dollar shy and a day late. We are the ones that poured our lives into this in order to create a better now of the future. We are the ones that have been telling everyone all along about what is happening now, and we're still getting beaten up for it. Yet, we are the ones that they will come to in their times of need, because the reality of what we have said for a long time has finally sunk in. Here's another cold, hard fact for you. Many, if not all, of us are at the point now where this work has cost us everything, and we are at the point of not being able to continue. Me being one of them. I've drained my entire life, my family and fortune in this walk, where only truth mattered. Damn the torpedoes. And I know many others who have done the same, where we have lost our homes, our livelihoods and families, etc., because of the frauds that have revealed for all existence. There are those that have control of this planet that do not like it when this happens, and they do whatever they can to kill that truth getting out. Some of us got through alive only because we know how universal law, not man-made law, truly works. Knowing this renders you untouchable at varying degrees, depending on one's ability to grasp eternal laws. The 99% are merely experiencing the rubber band effect of their own actions, where the natural pendulum always swings back to center, and the individuals trespass on these laws. Alas, they will continue to bitch and gripe, and will then go looking for answers that have long been there, and waiting if they can center. In accordance with the programming of the masses, truth, too, will be taken for granted and used at will where the benefit of the one still outweighs its of all. Such is but speak, the system think, the system do. I've been an oarsman in this particular boat for a long time now, sailing to the shores of truth along with a handful of others. And there's one thing we've noticed. The more truth we uncover, the more that climb aboard this boat. The only problem is 99% of them don't pick up an oar or offer to give energy to those of us long past exhausted. No, they come aboard with their deck chairs, their sunscreen, and pina coladas and start barking the chant of, "Row faster!" By this point, you will already know which part of the crew you are. Here's the catch. I already know my fellow 1%ers because their actions speak, not their words. These 99% are the ones happy about the 1% of us who are getting things done. They are the ones that are enjoying all the benefits and the fruits of the labors of these 1%ers that have anteed up every page to reveal the truth. They are the ones that are happy to get all that they need to better their lives without feeling the need to share from the top with those who filled them. While the 99% know they are getting something of value, they will never feel the need to give it value by helping the 1% that brought something to the potluck supper and made room for them on an already overcrowded boat due to the deck chairs. They, the 99%, are the ones that are still in the system's way of thinking, and to the system they will return until they too pick up an oar or bring something to the table. So the next time you get invited to a potluck supper, show up with nothing and then eat most, but don't expect to get invited back. Now imagine if it was you providing all the food for the potluck, and then have everyone show up, eat until they're full to obesity, and then leave you with empty pots and the bill because you were too busy filling them to get the chance to eat. This is how I see the 99% attitude trapped in the system mindset. They will never be free. Imagine that every day you return to this boat and are welcomed fully, only to find one day the very crew you were leaning on to get to the shores of truth have all disappeared or died. The good news is yours were left behind, but the sad part is the 99% didn't take the time to learn how to use them. Yep, the professor, the captain, and the rest of the crew of the SS Minnow have vanished, and all that's left is Gilligan. No, I don't see us still here either. one of your dedicated oarsmen. Okay. Oh, and P.S. Oarsmen and helper oarsmen, as we always do, are sharing the last crust of bread. The 99% Deccharians guzzle down the pot roast. Sharesies, perhaps? Just thought. Anyway, so just going to see what's going on with resetting password and everything else. So I'll just keep yammering here for a bit, Tony, until you can get logged in. But that was more or less a summation of a lot of things that I've been seeing, and it's always the same people helping the same people. Like I said earlier, it's the ones that are the least able to do it that are always the first to take the last crust of bread and share it. Well, there are those of you, and probably some of you listening right now, that might have stopped at Starbucks today, might have went out and had a really good lunch, and hey, you might be sitting around listening to this show tonight in the comfort of your home, you know, your feet up, and maybe you got the fire going or something, it was cool enough, and you know, everything's comfy cozy, you got the dog at your feet, and the family all around you, and you know, everything seems to be peachy peachy. And here's the irony, I had that too. And I cashed it in for what you're hearing right now. And here's the joy of it. I know I make a difference. It's not I think, it's not I believe. I know I make a difference. That's the purpose of my life. I go out of my way to make a difference. And the other part of it, not only is it about making a difference, when you actually get to know that you are, that's when everything that, you know, in the material sense it costs you becomes worthless. It really does. And I got to tell you, I would much prefer to be back in my bedroom of my house that I had spent 17 years paying for, and I paid for it 3 times based on the original price of it. You want to talk about debt and whatever else? Yeah, so the house is, you know, as I like to put it, I didn't have any of the guys that built the house coming around looking for payment. They were already paid long ago. You know, it's only banks and the usury and the interest upon interest upon interest upon interest. And of course, you know that when you sign a mortgage, you're the one creating the money. You are that sine wave. Sometimes they want a co-sine wave with you so they can double up the ante and cash that in too. You see, every time the mortgage is refinanced or whatever, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the troubles came around in 2008, was people were refinancing their ATM machines, or houses, because that's what people started treating their houses as, ATMs. They'd go to the bank and getting a mortgage was shit. Didn't even need a reference half the time. They were happy to, because they knew that you were making them money, you know, tenfold on the original paper, and not only that, you were paying it back plus interest, so they were getting 4 or 5 times that over the life of a typical death pledge. So who's the bigger fool? You see, and the reason why I'm not in my house right now is because I exposed that top to bottom. I had them owned gold on every front, and I'm hoping Tony comes in here, because I want to bring everyone that's listening right now to a brand new timeline. I'm going to bring you into a timeline that you didn't know even existed, but I'm going to make you aware of it. And the instant I make you aware of this timeline, those that changed it have got more fixing to do. And that's the joy of witnessing and discovering a time jump. And I assure you, people, this is very real. I have experienced it. I have seen it with my own eyes. I have lived it. And it's not so far-fetched once you understand the quantum mechanics of it. It's actually quite easy. The thing is, most people still think in a very, you know, 19th or 20th century mentality paradigm that, you know, the biggest technology we have is a computer sitting in front of us, and oh look, the shuttles, well, they're all stopped now. But the truth of the matter is, there are people, the brightest and best people on this planet, that have been recruited to work on other things, and there are technologies that have been on this planet for a very long time, unbeknownst to the general public, because that's the way they like it. And one of them is time travel, which is in the quantum field of the torus that we exist in this universe. It's very easy. It's folding space. It's just jumping across the torus basically and jumping back. The problem with time jumping though is this: is that whenever you do it, this is the joy of it is being able to jump back and forth and fix things if you need to. But the problem with it is, as soon as you do it, you've got another timeline to repair. It becomes a paradox unto itself, and it's a literal nightmare. So the time jump that occurred with me was the night they raided my house on February 11th of this year. They gave Sue a document, and there was an error on that document, and I spotted it immediately when I got to see it. It was on the Saturday, February 11th. I got to see it. Given that it was a very long night, I was kidnapped by the Guelph Police Service and held. I was kidnapped at gunpoint out of my car. Apparently, that's not having a license. Which, I've actually taped the license to the steering wheel, and it couldn't drive. So I decided to take over for it because it was kind of useless being a 2D flat sort of thing. But anyway, kidnapped at gunpoint, and they held me until about 3:30 in the morning. They had actually held Sue there, had made her come down to the station, long story, until about quarter after, and of course they released me 15 minutes after Sue had already left, so they knew I was going to be walking. And it was minus 25 degrees, 5 or minus 10 Fahrenheit. Very cold February night. Actually, it was the coldest night of the year. And I had to walk 6 miles, 9 kilometers to get to the first place that was open, so that I that was a coffee shop. And I damn near froze to death. I was not dressed for the weather. I was driving, so I had a light jacket on, shoes, no boots, and of course, winter, whatever. Long story short, the document they served had an error on it. I spotted it on the Sunday after I'd hooked up with Stu that morning, and at about 6:30 in the morning, so a long night. And when I saw the document, it was the first thing I spotted was they misspelled my name. And of course, when that happens, the whole document's null and void. They know it, I know it, and they knew I knew it. I sent out an email to all the parties concerned, outlining the mistake, and that everything they'd done was actually illegal, and, well, it was illegal anyway. They went out of jurisdiction in order to do this. That's when actually I thought laws mattered. They don't, but according to their rules, they broke every one of them, so it don't matter to me. That's why I know it's nonsense, and I spent 28 days in solitary to prove it. So, I've paid for this truth. So anyway, I made them aware of the error, and that they're going to have to rectify it. And a couple of days later, when I went to do the hard copies, I had a private bailiff that was going to be delivering all these to the out of jurisdiction courts, and the Guelph Police, the mayor's office, the mayor of Guelph. Anyway, all the culpable parties were part of this conspiracy to. And it was a conspiracy, I assure you. The amount of information I was releasing, I was dangerous to them. As soon as I got the scanned copy, because I had given it to the bailiff to hold on to, so it was kept in the safe, and I was sent a scan, and the scan had the mistake on it, because I copied and pasted right off the scan to send in the email. And 2 days later, when I went to get the same scans, lo and behold, the mistake had been corrected. And I had the original, well, the copy. They never give you originals, which are illegal anyway, right? Everything's a copy in this place. But, it had been changed, and you could actually see it. So what they had done was they'd realized the error, and they jumped back to when the document was being created, fixed the error in the time jump, and it altered the document in this current moment, this current timeline that we're in right now. So you're now in the timeline, and I see Tony finally, so I'm going to make Tony's mic hot. So now you're in my timeline, and all those that know. So for every being that has heard what I said, I have created another paradox, another paradigm nightmare that they have to fix. Because your timeline just changed too. Now they have to correct everything in your future. You see how this works? So, very powerful technology, very powerful tool, but a very dangerous one, and it is a fool's folly to mess with time jumping. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, well, it's a bit like now. They've certainly done it, haven't they? They've done it in all different fashions as well. So, We just need to get over it and manifest a decent one, don't we? But yeah, thanks for that, Kate. Sorry about all this grief I'm getting online, but
Oh, Tony, no worries, man. Listen, it's been no sooner did I just ready to start talking, and right on the same second, bang, my Skype went down. So I was like, oh, here we go. Anyway, so anyway, carry on.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, crikey, what a ride. Okay, yeah, like I say, thanks for looking after the helm for us there, Kate. Where do you start? Okay. Just to change, just to let the listeners know, we've had quite a few shows coming back and quite a few bits of feedback coming on, and it's all getting quite interesting, to say the least. I don't know if people are having similar sorts of experiences, but there's lots of synchronicity going on, and there's lots of strange things happening, such as you're thinking about something, you turn around the corner and there's a bus coming with something plastered across the side of the bus that, you know, oh crikey, I was just thinking about that. And these sort of things, you know, you're thinking about a number or a situation, and then all of a sudden there's one stamped in the middle of the road right in front of you. All sorts of weird and wonderful synchronicities happening. In the conversations, you're having a conversation with somebody and you're trying to convey something, and you just agreed with one thing that the other person said, and yet they try and give you that information again, and you said, well, you think, well, hang on, I've just told you I understood and I agreed with that. There's just some seriously weird things going on around us right now, and it seems to me that it's only the people that are very, very, very switched on that are actually picking up on these things. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Kate, while I'm on that subject.
Everybody's back. Can you hear the horn? Anyway, oh yeah, one case, into the moment of now, the synchronicities literally explode in front of you, where everything becomes synchronicity, and that's when you know you're in the now, because you're seeing things that are close, and they're a game of, and I can see how it can, and I can also see now how did we miss them. It's so obvious. But anyway, you can get that here.
Kate, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, the sound was absolutely shot to pieces there where you were talking, for me anyway. I don't know if it was the same for the listeners, but I'll mute again to wait for your answer.
Yeah, I'm scripting up, and it's not the internet. I got lots of feed here. I got lots of signal. So I new since we took over Skype, Microsoft, we've had nothing problem. So yeah, thank you, Karina Moon. That's breaking. I'm just curious as to what kind of feedback you've been getting. RE shows or whatever that we're doing.
Hello? Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard.
here.
You said, I'm not sure what kind of feedback you've been getting with regards to shows, and then it went quiet.
Yeah, that's basically it. So what is the feedback? Well, you mentioned there's been feedback, so share some.
Yeah, basically, with regards to voices coming through and getting broken up, it's like, you know, they're just smashing up the words within turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, turning it on at high speeds. I've had passwords that keep changing, and I've had buttons that used to work to link me into the show suddenly not work. I've had Facebook connections that need resetting, and then resetting emails that should come back instantly to give you your email code, to give you your password code to get back into the account you set up previously, that don't turn up. And you sat there waiting for an email, and the confirmation email. Registrations that don't exist. There's all sorts of stuff that they're throwing at us. and it's different every time. So consequently, it's like trying to find the end of a piece of spaghetti in a bowl of the stuff, because you're trying all these different methods to get online, and they're switching and changing and moving stuff around, anything to prevent you getting out there and giving your free speech, giving your information to the people. It's incredible.
Yeah, and that's something else too. I'm having difficulty even emailing. Try to verify my account. With a night show, where it was hacked and it was not difficult to do, and it was I'm aware of it that she wasn't here in the show with music. The same link and different shows were coming up every time. So that tells there. Hello.
Hello, I'm here. I'm trying to listen, and then you're cracking up, and then I'm trying to type to say it's really bad sound, and then by the time you say hello, I've lost the window again. So I'm trying to lay everything out so I can do all at once. It's a bit mad. Yeah, all sorts of things just going haywire, really. But yeah, we'll just keep on going no matter what.
I'll do it small.
I heard I'll do it small, and then it went. Silence. Again, Kate, I expect you were talking, but I can't hear anything coming out this end. So if you want to try and speak, we'll take it from there. Nope, I've got zero sound coming out this end right now. All I can suggest is speak again for a moment and see if we can hear you. I mean, I can't hear anything this end. I don't know if the listeners are having the same problem on the chat room, because I've shut the whole internet down and everything else that's running in order to make sure that there's nothing this end. And I've got full signal, complete strength, and I'm not getting any sound back. So I'm going to mute again just a moment to see if it can come through. Okay, I'm not sure quite what's happened there then, because I can't hear Kate, and I'm guessing that most people that are listening can't either, but anyway. I'm just hoping, Kate, if you can hear me, if you can interrupt when you get the opportunity to, that would be great. That way I know you're back there again. But, yeah, okay. Got a text through. Just checking this. Just got zapped. Okay. Join the club. Okay, so it looks like Kate's been knocked off on that situation, but hey presto, there's nothing unusual there. Okay, so obviously, whether you can hear it or not, Kate, we'll carry on. Okay, yes, we're talking about some of the more unbelievable aspects of this whole construct, i.e., okay, Kate's lost her Explorer down completely. It's interesting because I've recently caught some information today on beforeitsnews.com, or I think it's .com, and it's saying the German government was actually issuing warnings to people that to stop using Internet Explorer. Because of a bug that's actually gone through Internet Explorer, and it's creating havoc with people's systems. And hey presto, look what we've got. So thanks for that one, Microsoft. Oh, by the way, we've cracked your XP code, but anyway, that's a different story. Pardon me a moment, just going to mute. Yes, basically, anyway. Just for people who didn't understand what I meant with Windows XP code. We have been played like you really couldn't fathom right now. There are certain people that are on the decoding angles of this thing, and cutting a really long story short, if anybody's got any doubts, there is, and normally I'd open the browser and go and get it. In fact, I've already got a copy of it somewhere if I can just find it. So if you bear with me for a second, I'll give the people the link on where to find the information. But Windows XP, basically the X and the P are relating to the layout of the Vatican. Now the layout of the Vatican on the ground is also reflecting the star systems in the sky. In case just some people haven't noticed yet that the pyramids reflect the stars above, and the Vatican's reflecting also the stars above, and also the obelisks representing Rome, and many other puzzle pieces that are all put into that situation. But yeah, basically one of the keys to blowing this thing sky high is in the stars, and it's also in the understanding and the comprehension of the codes that are involved in those. And it just, as the movies put things like Star Wars and, you know, these space films and all the rest of it in your face and say, oh, but it's only science fiction. Well, so too has the Vatican been doing the same thing for a very, very, very long time. So let's just look at that just for a split second and see if we can work a couple of brain cells around it, because if the Vatican, I don't know when the Vatican was built, but if the Vatican was built all that long ago and they knew the secrets and the codes that are written literally above our heads in the stars, and they've been holding it for that long.
Okay.
I can hear you, but you back. Or partially back.
Okay. We're back on. I think
you're back on, but the sound's terrible. No, there's nothing coming through, Kate. I don't know. I'm only guessing you can hear me. That's sad. Okay, right. You interrupt when you're ready, and we'll see if we can get it right. But anyway, as I was saying, so not only have the satanic symbols been woven into Washington's grand plans, and as I was saying, the keys to Peter being woven into the the Vatican's outline, the direction of the Vatican's following meridians through to the Egyptian obelisks and the Egyptian pyramids, and it's working on a grid that goes right across the world. The Pentagon's placed on one particular point on the grid. Stonehenge is on another one. You know, there's points all over the world that are all on energetic grids. We call these ley lines. So all these ley lines are reflecting as above, so below. Same with the star systems, same with the layouts of the pyramids. But we are cracking that code wide open. And this is the point. Because in the same way that the movies have been putting these things in your face and pretending that they're only science fiction, no, they're not. The same way the Washington floor plan and the Vatican have been putting it, Windows XP and some of the biggest companies in the world have been putting it in your face that they know damn well what's going on behind the scenes, and they're not telling you. Let's give you some examples. Just some very brief ones. If you look at the petrol companies, let's look at ESSO, which is esoteric. Let's look at Total, representing total control of the petrol or the petrochemical industry, which is what it was aimed to do. Sports have all seen veiled eye. You know, Chevron Texaco has got a Knights Templar T with a sacred geometry star on top, or a pentacle. Again, the National Lottery in the UK has got a thumbs up sign consisting of 3 sixes. The Union Jack has got a big red double cross right across the middle. They're shoving it down your throats that they're double crossing you. They know the truth. Us stupid, dumb animals have not got the picture. This is what they're putting in our faces every day, all the time.
I made it back. This is getting crazy.
Totally, Kate. We heard you for that second. You still got sound? Try it again.
Yeah, I got sound. Just crazy. Yeah, Tara, I got it. I'm all over this. You know, I got everyone tagging me here. I know. Oh my God, I know. Yeah. Hopefully this. Who knows? Anyway, I'm back, and let's see how long this lasts before they rip it at me again. They really don't like what we talk about, eh, Tony?
Absolutely. That's the point. I don't like, well, anyway, it is what it is. The point is, guys, we're getting the message now. You know, you can try and carry on, yeah, do what you want, but the point is, we're getting the codes cracked. You know, we've cracked the Bible codes, we've cracked the astrological codes, we're cracking the sacred geometry codes, we're cracking all the codes that they've put in front of us that we never cracked before. So we're starting to put pieces together at 100,000 miles an hour, and they're not pleased, but tough. We're still going to crack them.
Yeah, exactly, and that was one of the reasons why my journey has been specifically solely bent on one thing, being a songwriter, a word craftsman, as it were, chasing down the language, and that code has been cracked. And it's a beautiful code. Once you can see it, it's stunning. In its simplicity of every word means the equal and opposite. Once you know how to read it, and once you understand the duality in the singularity of good and evil in every word. This is why the assumption of the law was critical, and the assumption of the law has now been removed, based on the fact that all creation came from the flower of life, and no one can copyright anything in creation. We are all part of it equally. So that kind of messed that game plan up. So everything else is unfolding as it needs to. I'm still working on my little piece of the puzzle, and everyone's got their own. So, yeah, in the beginning there was the word. The word was why, and that's a perfect question for consciousness to ask itself. Why? How did consciousness come around? How did we, the one, come into being? Consummate question of trying to understand the creation of the self-conscious. And this is, for me, that's what this game is all about. So we can, it's not about trying to discover ourselves, it's trying to discover the absolute purpose of why. why we, the one, existed in the first place. What happened that consciousness came to be in its most infinite self. I mean, when I think of that, I actually spin, because that is the one question that it is mind-boggling to think about, just the why of existence, period. How and why it all came about, you know? So, anyway, that's just my 2 cents, Tony, so carry on.
Okay, I'm really glad you brought that up. Now, I've explained to people in the past how sacred geometry is resonating with As Above, So Below, or the book that I've wrote, which is why I'm here talking to you, Blueprints of Cosmic Consciousness, explains, if you look at a tree, the tree has branches, and the branches have leaves on them, right? The leaves collect the solar energy, take them down the branches to the thicker branches, which lead into the trunks. Then it goes down the trunk, and then it hits the root system. And the root system takes the energy down from the sunlight in the top, down back into the earth. As above, so below. It's a big pyramid, because what's coming in at the top of a pyramid is going back down the sides of the pyramid into the ley lines of the earth. As above, so below. And we can see the same patterns in nature as we can as the same energetic patterns in the pyramids. Now, getting back to your question, the word why. first we'll look at the question as what is the most important letter in all of the English language. For an example, what is the most important word? You got it bang on. The holy grail of the words is why. Okay? Because the more you ask yourself why, the more you're led to the obvious nature of why. You know, why is this that way? Why is that that way? In other words, it's telling you question it, question it, question it, question it, question it. Because eventually you'll get to the answer. But when people stop questioning it and they stop just trying to drill down and find it, that's the holy grail that you lost, because you stopped questioning things, right? Now let's take that to its microcosm. Let's look at the alphabet, which we've done this before. When you look at the alphabet, all of your A, B, C, D, E, all have encoded symbolic meanings to them. So let's look at Y. So we look at W, H, Y. Okay? So the first thing is the W. We've got two inverted V's pointing downwards. In other words, grounding to the earth, grounding to solid. Double U, downwards. Okay? They're symbolically pointing down, and they're saying U, double U, down. So it's keeping you down on the ground. Okay? That's a symbolic frequency and the symbolic energetic frequency of the W. Then you've got H. So you've got two sticks joined by a cross. Okay? Now cut that in half. Right down the middle again, and you've got the reflection from the left to the right. So you are reflecting here on yourself. And this is what you're here to do. You're here to reflect on this situation you find yourself in. Okay? Just for argument's sake, let's say you get it. And then we look at the letter Y. So, we look at the letter Y. Now it's got a branch coming in at 45 degrees downwards, then a branch going up at 45 degrees-ish upwards, and a stick going right down to the bottom. Okay? Do we understand that? So we've got like a V, or a really shallow V with a stick going down. So what we do with that one, as the H is looking to be a reflection of itself on both sides, you take the Y and you turn the Y upside down, and what have you got? In other words, I'll break it down. You've got a pyramid with a beam coming out of the top. It's in reverse. This is the point. They've been showing you symbolically what's in every single letter. So in the same term, the pyramids are harnessing energy from above and bringing them down into the ground on the ley lines, etc. So the whole information is encoded right in front of our faces in macro and micro and meaning and symbol and frequency. It can't make it any clearer when you analyze it. But we have to start to begin to analyze everything and ask why first. Otherwise, we'll never get it. Kate, your opinions on that?
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I am here. It's that mute thing and what have you, right? Got all this traffic flying by, so I don't want to get people too interrupted here. Good timing though. Nice quiet spot of traffic. There isn't any. Anyway, yeah, and again, it's like I'll take it to the ethereal. The W I see is the as below, with the M is the as above. In that, if you were to put like a reflection upwards, the H becomes a ladder. The H to me are the two pillars of Hercules, or the two temples, or the duality left-right, positive, negative, magnetic, electric, male, female on each side, and the bar that comes across them is the rainbow bridge that joins them, much like the corpus callosum, or yeah, I think that's what it is, and the brain anyway, that joins the two distinctly separate hemispheres. And that's one of the things that I've already started working on today with an essay entitled "Know Thyself, Ye Are Gods." And I had a discussion in Skype, one of the Skype groups yesterday, with a gentleman that I was trying very diligently to bring this analogy across to them, and the futility of trying to deal with the system from the meat stick perspective. You see, what they've done, and this is where we stopped asking the question why, never mind, why am I alive in this body? You can ask the same question as soon as you get inside a car, right, to go somewhere. The whole purpose of being in the body is to have an adventure and go somewhere. But here's the thing, everything that the bodies are made of comes from the earth, and you ain't taking anything with you. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, the meat stick or the body is made of the same components of the computer that I'm talking through right now. There is a slight difference with regards to 250 genomes that were introduced a very long time ago into the human genome. That my firm belief is that it's interesting that it's an E. coli viral type genome. The 250, it's the same as the E. coli, in that it is the reptilian brainstem, and that is the interfering brain between the spine and the higher brain. Until you actually get into the breakdown of the different compartments of the brain, etc., and their different roles: the pineal, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the claustrum, the pia mater with what do you call it? The arachnoid, which is the webbing between the pia mater, which is the soft mother, and the dura mater, which is the hard mother. And the dura mater is the outside of on the outside of the brain. You have the arachnid, which is the web of, we call that the web of deceit between it and the pia mater, which is the soft mother, which is the higher mind. And this is, for me, people aren't going to understand the power of meditation until they actually understand who and what they are. You are the life force in that body. If you've never been to a funeral, then you won't understand this concept. But if you have, and have looked at someone in a casket, you will notice immediately that there is no one there. That is merely the cocoon or the chrysalis. The butterfly is already gone. And generally they'll hang around for a little bit. And usually we like to check out our own services, see who shows up, and make sure everything's okay before we pull off to the next game. But when you can understand that when the energy source leaves that body, that's who and what you are. You are not the body. The body is a piece of luggage. It's a car. It's that you would drive around in until it can't drive around in anymore. It's a tool that you use to interact and interface. It's the first interface with the physical universe. And that's why when people start talking about I'm a living flesh and blood, man, woman, or whatever the case may be, I'm thinking, no, you're not. That's a perfect deception. You're not living flesh and blood, bone, meat stick. I say you moron. That's the car you're driving around in. You are the God within. That's why we interface with this physical realm, and the physical and spiritual, ne'er the two shall ever meet. They can only coexist. They cannot be as one, but they can work together. That is, for me, the ultimate duality, in that our creation, and take responsibility for it, and the game that we're playing here, this game board, is because we are only one, just different perspectives of source. This is our responsibility, our creation, and we've just got to a point where we're at effect to the game itself, and not masters of it. The game. Some people figure out how to manipulate the game to their benefit, and that's what we're dealing with right now. And they've done a great job convincing everyone that they're walking, talking meat sticks. That that the carnal mind, the carnal realm of physical is all there is, and quite frankly, it's a very limited existence in that you only have the 5 senses. So, if you want to know thyself, understand that you are you, not the body. The body is just a car. It's just a vehicle that you travel around in, and you ain't taking it with you. Just like you're not taking all those prized material possessions you think you own. You don't own anything. You don't even own the body. That's Caesar's. You render that to Caesar. And when I say Caesar, I'm speaking strictly and solely of this physical realm. It's black and white to me. There is no gray area here, people. You're either in or you're out. And that's how I look at the electromagnetic. I don't see it as North Pole, South Pole. I see it as indoor-outdoor. You know, energy out, energy in. Because a magnet is an electromagnet. It has its own force within it. That is the electrical. The magnet itself is electrical. You know? Your comments, Tony?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I've got it pretty much covered on the Santa Claus from Thank You, Karina. Someone is paying attention to Bill Donahue and Sandro Bonacci. I love you. Yeah, I got the quantum spiritual down pretty cold. I mean, this is my realm. I'm a two-spirit. And that's been frustration. I was born to see it. And trying to explain this to people, forget it. The only ones, I got to tell you, the only ones that, and I won't say the only ones now, there are many that get this now, that get the two-spirit aspect because they know that they're both male and female. But the ones that got it first and earliest were other two-spirits. It's like, we're the ones walking around, trying to be normal, and there's nothing normal in this place. You know, we're seen as the oddities. And that, oh my God, there's a freak in nature. It says, yeah, I am a freak in nature. That's just the way it is, you know. It was a curse and a blessing in one. It's a good and evil to me, you know. I get to walk around in a prison my whole life, so anyone that, wants to take a shot at me with regards to jail and, cops and all the rest, go ahead. I've been walking around in prison my whole life, so it's nothing new to me. So, I'm just trying to give a perspective so that people can share it and learn to walk the neutral middle road. But I don't want people, we got a beautiful rose garden planted on each side with a beautiful all the way down the middle, and I don't want people, running willy-nilly on the left side of the path, crushing all the roses, nor do I want them on the right. Get down the middle and you'll see it. You won't damage the garden that way, and you'll be able to enjoy it a lot better, and you get it on both sides. This is looking at the same coin, two sides of the same coin at the same time. It's beautiful once you grasp it. Once you see this, the synchronicities just explode. I've seen it my whole life. They're going nuts now. Like, oh my! I got to tell you that whole language thing and understanding what is really going on, and now the removal of the assumption of law, in that it's not assumed anymore. My intent is pure. And guess what? I get to be the 100th monkey in this little universe here that uploads that information for all. So do your part. You're a 100th monkey. Everyone out there listening, you've got a very specific role to play. So know thyself. Start with the zodiac. What your sign is, and see what your attributes are. That is the divine science of the as above, so below. And you mentioned earlier, Tony, about the tree. The tree to me is it's an upside-down inverted, stem-to-stem Y again, in that here you have branches reaching out into the light for sustenance, and you have, in the as above, and the same as below with all the roots reaching into the darkness for sustenance. So, the tree gets sustenance from the earth and from the sun, and they both coexist. One feeds the other. And that is the absolute, you want to see the universe, just look at a tree. The fractals are there. It's beautiful. And all the Y is, for me, is the tree of life itself. Singular intention branching out into exponential creation. And that's the first step of the split of the duality, when the two arms of the Y go branching out. So, anyway. Take it over there.
That's beautiful. I didn't, again, there are so many synchronicities inside each other again and again and again. For example, as I said before, you look at the word why, and then you explore the meaning of that, and then you look at to break the words down into the separate meanings, and then you look at the word or the letter itself, why, and as you just said, the tree reaching down into the darkness at the same time reaching up into the light, and utilizing both to survive. The yin and the yang, both halves of the same onion, if you like. What would the Earth be without space? What would the Earth be without cosmos? Well, it'd be pretty weird, wouldn't it? Without the above, what's the below? And without the below, what's the above? It's a mad ride we're on here, kids. And I've got a funny feeling it's going to get a whole lot madder before we really, really pin this tail to the donkey, if you know what I mean.
Oh, for sure. And one of the things that I am noticing, especially over the last week and a half, a lot of people don't realize the extent of an empath that I am. And I really got to keep myself guarded. And I don't mean that in a fearful sense. It's very easy for me to become overwhelmed with others' emotions. Know that I've got a very defined emotional center within me. The empathic nature of what I am is, and that was just honed over many, many years of working in the music game of large crowds and trying to feel the whole crowd out. So again, it's an energy. You got to you're feeding the crowd energy and they feed it back. So you get rather adept at it once you've done it for a while. But one of the things that I've noticed, especially over the last couple of weeks, well, I can say since last February, the only thing that's really, and it still has an effect on me, is that I fight every day to control it. I mean, those that are playing me, are playing me with emotion. They're playing me with all the things that are near and dear to my heart. It's like I said last night. It's the text that I wanted to see my dogs that I haven't seen. They're my dogs. I mean, I haven't seen my dogs in 6 weeks, right? These were the animals in my house when Sue got there, except one I picked up later. But these were animals that have been in my life for decades. And they're my little treasures, and I haven't seen them. That rips me apart. But anyway, I texted her last night. I'm just trying to convey what this energy that keeps flying at me is all about, trying to control me, and it's for me to try to maintain some sense of center, which is not easy. So I'm just asking people to cut me a little slack, because I felt this pressure before, but it is on an exponential level right now, where I've got a lot of things coming at me, where a lot of people are leaning on me, and I don't even know if I have the strength to hold myself up. So I texted Sue last night about seeing the dogs. I said, sorry, not a good night. I have a date after work. Now, that's my soulmate. So, and that's it. That's the first communication I've had in weeks from it. So, yeah, it's been a great week. So anyway, people that listen to the Monday show, maybe take 5 minutes and try to gauge the being a little, before you start passing judgments and what have you. I've had too many people, pass vast judgments based on a 2.5-minute video 2 years ago. They weren't there for the whole day. They weren't there for the 7.5-hour ordeal that I went through, standing my ground and owning it every step of the way, in absolute terror, because I'm the only one able to stand alone, and I got 21 other people there counting on me not to mess it up. So low pressure, and also factor in that the nature of a two-spirit is not one of being that outgoing, and we got very, very learned early on with regards to hiding, and we live literally in terror of ourselves for most of our lives. The fact that I went on the stage is that was my way of hiding in plain sight, and it terrified me. Still does. Like even doing these shows, there's that I really gotta push myself. I really do. So cut me a little slack, guys. But I know, Tony, that we're winning. Just based on the energies that are flying at me right now, and when we do the call out, looking like I'm at the end of my rope here, I just want to keep serving. I just want to keep going, and I know people don't get that notion, because that's not a very, very common notion. That why would anybody give up their life to do this and try to help others? That's my life. That's my choice. Same reason that people decide to join a chess club or go surfing or go hang gliding or parachuting or whatever that becomes their passion, their hobby. This is my passion. It was my hobby, My hobby was socioeconomic geopolitical research, and the Geminis are like, that's all we want to do is learn, It's insatiable. So anyway, I just a lot of factors come into things. So I would I would ask that you reserve the keen judgment a little bit if I ever get impassioned, because I don't know what you're dealing with out there listening, but you sure as hell don't know what I'm dealing with. And I know someone's got it way worse than me, and I pity them. Oh my God, I pity them. And I'm grateful at the same time. So, we're trying to get the word out here. And as a result of us getting the word out, we take it on the chin, on the back, on the knees, on the arms. Baseball bat after baseball bat every single day. So take what we're saying to heart. I have no vested interest in this. I'm not getting paid to do this. It's cost me my life. It's cost me my fortune, everything, my family, everything to do this. So if there's a vested interest, that one's yours, not mine. I'm just hoping that people listening can get a sense of value in what it has cost so many of us to get this to you. We're not out there selling fear like the Drakes and the Fulfords and the rest of these shill digs and whatever. We're not the ones that are out there trolling around, putting lewd comments on people's YouTube pages and derogatory statements and distracting statements and everything under the sun to dissuade people like myself and Tony and so many others, Santo and Bill and Danny and all of us. We've all taken hits based on our stand, because there are powers here that do not want this out. But here's the joy of universal law. They don't have a choice. Because once we figure it and we have it now. We just got to get the word out to everyone. Their game is done. They're done. It's over. We've already nailed, I don't know how many of the Illuminati playing cards that they couldn't play because it was all exposed. And that's the whole idea of diligence, of asking that question. Why? The hell with the how and what happened, guys. That's pretty obvious. You saw it or you heard about it. I'm just interested in what you don't know, the motivation and the intent, because in this universe it's all about contrast. It's all about perspective and intent. What was the intent? If you're looking for a what, there it is, because that brings in the why question full force. And that's all you need to ask yourself. Is, okay, well that happened, and that happened. Why? And don't follow the money trail all the time, because that's part of the distraction too. There's a bigger game afoot here. There's an ethereal, spiritual game in a level of understanding that most will not see. Fortunately, there are some of us that are cruising around in those realms that can see it, and we'll try to tell you what it is. There's much truth in my mind and my heart that I have discovered that, I got to tell you, there's many days that I wish I hadn't. It would have been nice. Ignorance is bliss. But, hey, I made my bed. I'm lying in it. That's that. You there, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know I feel your pain, but I know what you're saying. Like I said, this is a world for down here. We're going to spend our time down here doing what we need to do, get the message across, go around slapping a few faces and wake a few people up, and then we'll be going back to where we came from, eh? Can't wait.
Well, that's it, and I know full well. I know. This is not a thinking or believing. This resonates with every essence of my beingness. I know what I came here to do. I know who and what I am. I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know why I have the things that I have and the tools that I have, because I spent the time trying to figure them out so that I knew what the hell it was I was meant to do.
Love it.
That's all.
Absolutely the same as. Totally and utterly the same as. That's the point. I mean, you've got to look at this from the other angle as well. There are billions of people out there on this planet, and do you think, how many of them do you possibly think is so gifted to have the complete, not necessarily complete, to have the understanding they know why they are here? most of them, if not 99.999% recurring, are wandering around going, what the bloody hell's going on? If at all they're bothered and not, distracted by EastEnders or the football. Do you know what I'm saying? If any of them, a very, very tiny amount of them are thinking, what the heck am I doing here? There must be a massively, infinitely tinier number of people that can actually turn around with all honesty and integrity and say, I know why I'm here. I know what my job is. I know what I've got to do. I can't explain to you how I know, but I know. So let's get on with it. Let's do it. Suffer the consequences, which we are, and just, I'm not chasing money. I'm not chasing fame. I'm trying to get the flipping message across. And that's the point. The same as you. It's like we're gifted.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to put it in the mirror. It's not that, we're special. No, we just have a particular role, and we awoke to that role. And here's the thing with me is, win, lose, or draw here, I don't care about losing me. I don't care about, I'm going to stand the post, and I will die at this post if I have to, no question, because I know that I'm good to go. My biggest fear, if I do have any at all, and take this in the humblest, most poignantly servitude aspect I can deliver this in, my biggest fear is I don't want you losing me. I know my role. I know the particular role I'm supposed to do. And I know the tools that I have, how critical those tools are for others. That for me is my responsibility to maintain that. And it's not that I care about losing me or losing anything around me or anything else. That's irrelevant, because I know who I am. And I just came here to help. I'm just a messenger. I'll get in, I'll back out the same way I came in here. I go out in reverse. That's all there is to it. I'm just here to fulfill an obligation that I made on an ethereal level that is very real to me now in this physical realm. And like I said, my biggest fear is I don't care about losing me. Don't care in the slightest. I really don't. The only thing that keeps me here, honestly, the only thing that does keep me here is I have a responsibility to all of you. And I don't want you to lose me. And that's it. And take that from a servant perspective. Seriously, it's like you got someone that has a butler their entire life, and all of a sudden they lose them. They might just notice they missed them. And I just want to make sure that I'm in a position to help as many people as possible. And if my words are worthy, if what I'm sharing with people resonates and empowers them, that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's great. If you want others empowered, then either you go do it yourself or help out servants like us. There's no amount of wealth on this planet can entice me. Like I said, to have a little bit of heat and to be dry when it's raining, that's a really cool thing. And to have a stable internet would be even better, but whatever.
As you say, wealth is just a tool of the construct. We've talked about this before. Politics, religions, money, entrapment, all this stuff is just a tool of the construct. We've managed to realize that and completely come out of that and sort of like break through the bonds of that bullshit. But listen, I don't want to detract from what you've said whatsoever, but I do want to lay something on the people tonight while we've got a chance that's utterly profound. Now, we started this conversation earlier about time travel, and I want to go there again. There's a big reason for this. Many months ago, I came across a book, and this particular book I found on the internet, and it got me thinking about all different aspects of time travel. And I want to go and read a little bit out of that book. And again, synchronicity is off the charts here, and I'll break it down one by one. But if that's all right with you, Kay, I'll go on a little bit more about the book. If
it's your helm tonight, so I'm talking more than I should. So please, this is your helm tonight. I'm just a co-hosty thing.
Okay. Well, look. Okay, here we go. Now, this is weird as a box of frogs, but let's go for it. The book is called Eternal Life Through Time Travel by Lewis Mooney Jr. Okay, I'll give you all his contact details and all the rest of it. I ordered this book, or we ordered this book, a couple of months ago, and it's the first time I've laid my hands on it today, and it's very significant because I opened the book and I've been skimming through it briefly. I haven't even read it yet, but I understand the principles behind it regardless because I've seen them in Philadelphia experiment. I've researched them in the Looking Glass Technologies. I'm aware of the Chronovisor. I'm aware of the harmonics. I'm aware of all sorts of different areas of time travel that they've been using. CIA, the deep black government and the elites have been using this stuff a long time. Anyway, there's a book. It's published. It's out. And it proves categorically it's not the only one. There are lots of them. But it's one particular one. And the main title of the book is Death is Dead. Yeah? Eternal Life Through Time Travel. Death is Dead, basically. Now, I've opened it up to page 27. Now, I'm not going to bother trying to explain the numerology, but the 2 is you've got 2 people explaining the 7. The 7 being, in the beginning there was the word, blah, 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 illustrating harmonics. And it's all about harmonics. Now, I'm just going to go for it wherever I feel comfortable, and I'm just going to go and read from the center of right-hand page 27. Okay? So, here goes. I do not hold you solely responsible for any misdirection in your life. I believe that masses are consistently manipulated to serve the needs of the special interest groups. Using the media, they bombard us with propaganda to serve their economic, political, or personal agendas. They, who put themselves above the quest for truth, in inverted commas, blind guides, are ultimately committing suicide and genocide. Of course they are. We know this. Right? Pharmaceutical industry. It's obvious. When you would trust another to define you, well, when then would you trust another to define you? I say to you that it is your first responsibility to look at the universe and see your purpose in it. Superstition and ignorance are the seeds of misery. We live in a world of infectious organisms. Until a scientist discovered penicillin, a simple infection could kill, and it often did. Antibiotics have probably saved every member of your family at one point or another, and you certainly welcome the role that science has played in this capacity, yet you ignore science when it comes to formulating a true and accurate picture of your universe. You cannot have it both ways. I will explain to you in this letter, it is possible for science to save you long after you have died. Does that interest you? Nothing is final, not even death. In this book, I will present to you a model of the universe that withstands the test of scientific method. You, being part of that universe, will also be defined. It will reveal to you how you got here, where you are going, and I will do this by looking at the facts of the biological evolution. You should want to know this. Why would you want to live in darkness? Knowledge leads to power. Power to overcome the things in our cosmos that threaten us. Knowledge conquers smallpox. Hence millions have been spared a hideous disease. Knowledge can overcome civilizations, threatening events such as the future asteroids. It is the business of the universe to increase consciousness, and this is the obvious goal of evolution. It cannot be denied. It's happening. Why would you choose to live in a fantasy world devised by others? Fantasy breeds mistakes, and mistakes lead to death, destruction, and misery. Causing the tolerating misery is a sin, and a sin is brought about by the great failure of the ignorance. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is sin. The time has come to wake and throw off the chains of ignorance and brainwash it. I want you to become a different creature. I want you to undergo a conversation. I want you to become a creature ruled by logic and desire to learn endlessly. Nothing changes until the people change. I want you to become the modelist and the convert and others to this end. Let me repeat this. I want you to become a modelist. And it goes on. Okay, I'm going to give it one more shot because I think there's something else going to come out. I haven't read this yet, so I'm going blind. I will often refer to the modelist from this point forward. This is not to imply that there is currently a huge group or organisation that call themselves modelists. At the time you read this, there may well be, but as of the date of this book's release, the number of modelists is only around 100. This book might provide a nucleus around which this group of enlightened citizens will build a global mission, and I truly hope this happens. There is even evidence that this did happen in the future. To put it simply, a modelist is someone who believes in the concepts set forth in this book, just as the Christians, Buddhists, humanists, communists, and capabilitists, and environmentalists, socialists, and atheists. Just as there are thousands of philosophies to embrace, there is also a modelism. I will also add that nothing in modelism conflicts with the teachings of the major religions, as they promote peace and justice for all of humanity. Even the concept of eternal salvation is reflected in modelism. The fact is, modelism approaches these issues from a purely scientific point of view. As I have already pointed out, the following modelism section, you will find the section on the Christmas experiment. This is a portion of the book that directly and with proof of time travel directly relates to and with proof of time travel. You may skip over the modelism section if you want to read about time travel first, although there is a great deal of information on time travel in modelism, and this is the last bit. If you choose to read the evolutionary-based modelism portion, you will find it next. If you are wondering why I have included the evolution-based modelism theory in the time travel book, the answer is simply this. Only a species radically dedicated to a science will ever achieve time travel. And modelism is the only ism on Earth that builds such a species. Now, I've read that out because I felt it was important to get that information across, plus it relayed a lot of what we have been talking about. Again, time travel is real. Time travel is real on many levels, not just one or two. Now, if time travel is real, that means we've been caught in one hell of a tricky trap down here, and I mean down here on Earth. It means we've been fooled in every different aspect you could possibly think of, including death. Death doesn't exist. It only exists because we believe it exists. So we need to think about what we believe very, very carefully, because we've been tricked into a position whereby we believe we're only going to live 70, 80, 90, 100 odd years and die. So why do we believe that? Well, because that's what because we haven't looked at the facts. You look at the Bible. Moses was living 800 years, and this is in the Bible. And not to say whether the Bible's left, right, or indifferent, but the point of the matter is, are you sure there's no such thing as time travel? Because if you're not, I suggest you start looking at the evidence. Because when you look at the evidence, especially in the book Blueprints of Cosmic Consciousness. Go download it. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. It's just going to take you a little bit of time to pay a bit of attention to some of the facts. When we actually get over the fact that it's real, we'll realize there is no such thing as death. Okay? All those that have gone are not gone. They're just not, they're gone from here. It's our perspectives that have been manipulated. You know? And this is a massive thing that, anyway, I think I've said enough just briefly to get some information across to people. Even if you don't believe me, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. In fact, I'll tell you what, I hope you don't believe me. And I hope you pay enough attention to go and have a look for yourself. Because that's all that counts. You don't have to get the book. You don't have to listen to Kate. You don't have to... Just get your own mind to a place where you can start to investigate yourself. That's what counts. That's what's going to make all the difference. It doesn't matter how many Kates and Tonys and Freds and whatever is standing up there screaming from the rooftops. All it takes is to raise the consciousness of us. In other words, all of us. The human race, the human family. We're all one. Never mind your Christians on the left and your Buddhists and your monks and your Muslims on the right. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, it is bullshit. Put a frigging fatwa on me. I couldn't give a toss. I'm not going anywhere. The point of the matter is, Muslims and Christians and all this other crap, religion. Let's look at it. You realign the legions of men who are really angels. We are all angels. Why are we angels? Because we are divinity. We are living expressions of molecules on this particular plane, having a human being experience. So we are angels. We are divine. We are consciousness. We are manifestations of the experience that is called the human being. We could be manifestations of the experience called the tree, or the flower, or the frog, or the dragonfly, or the crocodile, or the brick. You know, it doesn't matter. Molecules were created. Who created them? Well, the same creator that created all the rest of them. Get over it. We are all one. The universe is one. The earth's one. You know, everything around us is one. We're just having an expression of a bit of it. There's a CD right in front of me looking at me, and it's just a CD. Still exists through molecules. We're all God. The CD's God. You can worship the Coke bottle if you want. We're all one and the same. We're all one.
Hey Tony, I just want to jump in on your region thing. When people fully understand, I'm going to go outside the box here with everyone for a sec and throw a different perspective on what Tony's saying. We'll come at it from both angles here. When you understand that Re, R-E, is the ancient Egyptian spelling for Ra, as in the sun god or son of God, what they're talking about, you see, it is not the sun that gives us life. We can go live underground and never see the sun for the rest of our lives, and we'll still live. We'll find a means to, find sustenance somehow, because, I mean, proteins are proteins, regardless of what way, shape, or form. Look at the animals that live, I mean, hey, I've done cave diving. I mean, I know of a lot of creatures that have never seen the light of day from the sun. So the sun, and these to me are just clues, is that the sun does not give life. It certainly shows light on things, but it is we, the ye are gods, that actually give the life here. And it is this feeding of energy that we give as our own. We are Ra's, okay? We are sons of God, literally, as in supernova sons of God. And what's happened here, from my perspective, is that they call it the Legion because they want us to worship their God, which is the orb in the sky. That, to me, is just another one of us in a larger form. And that, to me, is the reason why we are kept here in this particular paradigm and controlled and manipulated so that that energy is fed towards that. It is us that gives the sun life. It is us that gives the earth life. We are the gods, okay? It's not the other way around. Everything, sorry, I was born with a backwards mirror, okay? I look in the mirror and go, no, that's not me. So I've been on the other side. So I've always looked at this particular realm in reverse. And reverse, there's another good word. I love this word. It's one of my favorites now. Reverse, which is re, Son of God, ver, truth, from verily, and say, Latin for the Holy Trinity of Himself, Herself, Itself. So the Son of God, of truth, of Himself, Herself, Itself, means that the only way you get out of here is in reverse, once you understand who you are. And that's going to be well, it already is the key theme and element of the essay I'm working on right now. And it's a very difficult concept to cross to people, in that, you talk about the sun being the giver of all life. No, you are. What we're doing is we're the ones creating the energy that allows that. So it's all backwards. That's why they call it legion. They want you to be part of their legion that worships their sun god, or son of God, the one in the sky. That's why Egypt was all about sun worship. And again, here we are, game pieces that affect the game. And sorry, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it anymore. I bought enough of their 3-card Monty, 3 shells and find the P game. Sorry, I'm not playing that one anymore. Anyway, so I just wanted to give a different perspective on religion there, Tony. And yeah, something else, another concept, you're probably familiar with it, in the rollover of when they do time jumps. A lot of it is when you're thinking in terms of a supercomputer that everything is hooked up to. I'm talking in the ethereal sense. That those that are wanting to manipulate this particular realm basically feed it all sorts of timeline scenarios for different outcomes, and what they're trying to do is look ahead to see what they can do to change this, to keep everything moving in the direction they choose it to move in. That's why when people awaken to who and what they really are, you really mess the program up, because now you become a variable that they cannot deal with. And I'll tell you what that one variable is. It's the game changer of game changers. It is the absolute power of this universe. It is the most neutral, most perfectly fluid motion of spirit breath, i.e. liquid breath, which is Rho. And that's why key Rho. This is your key in the Rho. I don't worship the physical aspects and attributes of this game. I only see this physical stuff as the clue to our own within salvation. It's got nothing to do. There's nothing out there that is going to save you. Only out there will you be entrapped in the illusion. And when you become the Son of God that ye are, oh my goodness, doesn't that change the game a little? And the game changer, very simple. It's not an emotion at all. It's the only thing that isn't an emotion. It is the only thing that is pure motion. Do you know what it is, Tony?
I'll take a stab at it, but I'll probably be wrong.
Go ahead. It's only one word.
Silence.
No. Well, that works too. The only thing that is pure motion is love. Love conquers. Love conquers all. And what love is, it's the non-judgmental observer. It is that one aspect of creation that allows things to let it be. It's to look at the 5-year-old going towards the electrical outlet that says to it, I really want to, you stop that. That's a control thing, right? Excuse me. So, it's not like the kid's going to die or anything, but they'll learn right quick that sticking in the outlet isn't good for them. It's not like they're getting hooked up to 120 volts. It's going to be a quick zap, and the good news is 120 volts can't hold you. It can certainly make you jump, but you learn real quick. And here's the thing, unless you're watching that 5-year-old every second of the day, who's to say they don't go off and experiment themselves? I mean, I don't know about you, but I've sampled as a young child. I sampled some electrical stuff. And no, I learned real quick to to not touch. You know, again, it's about letting things be, and that's the game changer, guys. You get into that beautiful neutral zone where you stop judging the other aspects of yourself. And if you do judge other aspects of yourself, make sure you include yourself in it. It's like me today. I'm traveling around going, oh, that absolute moronic perspective of myself over there that's doing that. I wish I could stop that. You know, so you're not passing. If you're passing judgment on yourself. Well, hey, listen. You pass judgment on. If I pass judgment on me, I'm passing judgment on you. So this is why you can't even judge yourself. This is why you have to get neutral, because it says the clues are there. Judge not, lest you be judged. So if I'm judging me, I'm judging you. So I'm going to stop doing that too.
Yep.
And this is the matrix as it's unfolding. Well, for me anyway, this is how things are really cutting to the quick. And this is one of the reasons why I know I get attacked the way I do on the emotionals. And I'm a tough cookie. What used to take me a long time to get over certain things or whatever, I can generally get rid of it now in a matter of hours or days.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, listen, I just want to comment on something you said a minute ago. You're right with what you were saying, but one of the other perspectives is what I would like people to understand is as above, so below, which means that our solar systems and the galaxies out there all exist within us. Now, this is a massive leap for people that haven't understood it, but the point is we are here looking at this perspective, but we are also out there being that perspective. And there's many different lines of information I can take you down to understand this, but if you look at Thunderbolts of the Gods, it will talk about the cosmos and how neurons or plasma waves are encoded into the galaxies out there, and they resemble the perfect, and I mean perfect, resemblance of the neurons in your own brains. And I mean all of us, there's no exceptions. We are all one. We are all one in here, in these bodies, and we are all one out there in our body. Our collective body is the solar system. This is the point. So the sun is us. The solar system is us. We're looking at it from a singular duality type perspective in the fundamental physical realm of this particular frequency. So we are all one. It doesn't matter how we want to muck it about or twist it or change it or anything else. It is what it is. We are all totally and utterly inseparable from each other. So all of this bullshit is separating into different directions, getting confused. All of it's cancelled out when you understand that every molecule in the world, the planet itself, all of us, we're all one. Let me give you an example, right? If you've got a pregnant woman, you take a blood sample from the pregnant woman and you look at a single blood cell, you'll find a fractal fetus of the baby in any blood cell in that woman. That's just one fundamental, total and utterly, completely, positively provable example. Go do the sudden experiment or do some flipping research and you'll figure that out. We're all one. It's irrespective. Okay? And just on that basis, just to make absolutely sure people are getting this, right? I'm telling you, here's the details. This book, Eternal Life Through Time Travel, by Lewis Mooney, Jr. I'm going to give you his contact details, right? It's time travel today at gmail.com. Okay? There's another contact mail, Eternal Life Through timetravel@gmail.com, and ATMODELATM@OAL.com. There's his details. Go and get in touch with him. His book is here again. The back of the book, it says, in 2010 an experiment was completed in which Lewis Mooney Jr. successfully traveled backwards in time. The success of this experiment was verified by data analyzed by the Princetonian University. Read about the experiment that has opened the door to time travel, a door that can never be closed again. But I've got news for you, and I've got news for him. He actually isn't the first person to time travel. There are many different forms of time travel. The Vatican have been using it, the CIA have been using it, the governments have been using it, and shed loads of evidence can be gathered. Philadelphia experiment, etc. There's tons of information on this. Michio Kaku admits it, right? And he's a New World Order shill as well. But the point is, it's already been proven. So we've got to wind this thing up. The point is, I've given you the details, I've given you the information. You know, it's up to people to actually act on it now. To actually say, well, hang on, if he's coming out with all this, there must be something to it somewhere. Okay, yeah, cool, there is. Get the book, Blueprints of Cosmic Consciousness. In there, I go through various experiments. I go through various people that have conducted lectures. I go through situations that have occurred. One guy actually went through and brought back photographic evidence of himself in the future when he was an old man. And he comes back and he verifies it. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The question is it true or is it not? And the answer is yes, it's true. Which bit of true would you like to read? You know, do you want the harmonic truth, or do you want the scientific truth, or do you want the physical truth, or do you want the actual? You know, it's been proven time and time and time again. Okay, just for one last wind-up time, I'm going to put down the place where you can get the book that I've been referring to. And I've been referring to it for good reason, because in there you'll get an A, B, C, D, E of what's going on and where it started, how it happened, and it's free. It's not going to cost you anything. All it will require is your attention. You'll have to put something in to get something out, which means you might actually have to read it and click on a few links and listen to some lectures in order to comprehend the information, because it's huge. So, www.awakeconsciousawareness.com. And thank you very much. I love you all, and thank you so much for your time and your attention today. And I'm going to hand over to Kate. Good night. Thank you, Kate. Everything's cool, and let's kick this thing in the ass once and for all, yeah? Everybody out there. It means do some research and getting it sorted. Let's go.
Yeah, thanks, Tony, as always. Yeah, getting into the meat and potatoes. I'd like to say thanks to all those that hung in there during the early on, as I like to call 40 attacks to shut us up. All those, I guarantee you, you know it's going to be an interesting show whenever that happens, and I'd like to thank again all those that have chipped in, that had some coffee money and then some, that they didn't have and were able to excuse me, flow it forward. That's the drawback of being outside all the time. It gets bloody cold. Anyway, yeah, so don't forget you can get a lot of information, Tony's book as well, on my blog page, www.loveovermind.wordpress.com. And we're on as always. We're on as always from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, midnight to 2 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, every Wednesday and Friday evening for Outside the Box. It's been a pleasure. always, to sit in here and share the truths that I've uncovered through my own experience, and Tony and so many others, and we've been able to share these with you, and it has cost us dearly. And the only reason I say that is not a pity party. It's I need you guys to get the concept of the value of what it is we're trying to share. It came at a hefty price, and we just want to give it to you. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. You've been listening to Outside the Box here on Freedom Reigns Radio, Blog Talk Radio. Much love to all. Safe travels, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Take care. Bye-bye.